How are we all doing, guys? So, as you would have seen, I've done a few video responses to people recently, and I'd like to set one myself, actually. Like I've said before, I like taking part and also like setting them as well. So I thought I'd do one myself. So this is one for everybody to take part in the community. And this one is my top 5 consoles in my collection, or top 5 consoles in your collection. So I'm going to start at number 5 being the lower one, number 1 being my top one. So, and then I'll give reasons as to why. So I've put PS4 as my number 5. I am predominantly, I'd say, a retro gamer because I go back to the old stuff. I play the old stuff all the time. In fact, I hardly use my PS4. I do use it, but not a great deal. Not these days, anyway. Because I've started, getting all the older stuff again. I prefer the older stuff. And that is why, main reason why I've put PS4 at the bottom of my list. I mean, there are a lot of great titles out on it. I would say I've bought less on it, though. I mean, Connor's got loads of games, or should I say Connor and Kyle, they've got loads of games because they're more into their modern stuff. My collection was bigger than it is now, but I got rid of a few because they were just games I wasn't really playing, I wasn't really into. And my main reason why I enjoy the PS4 is for like newer versions of franchises that have been around for donkeys, like your Mortal Kombats and your Street Fighters and your Streets of Rage, and things like that, Devil May Cry and all that sort of stuff. So even though I've got a PS4, a lot of them I'm buying are actually like remastered games or just the newest version out in that franchise. So that's the main reason why I've really got a PS4. Probably I can't really think of anything I bought the PS4 predominantly for. Oh, actually, I'll tell a lie. I did buy it when I bought the PS4. The main reason I bought it was for Batman Arkham Knight was one of them, which came with it. But again, you could say that's just a follow-on, and also Star Wars Battlefront 1 because that was coming out at the time. But again, that's really a remake, isn't it? Because you had the original PS2 version. So yeah, I suppose I have I have pretty much bought it or got it originally because of newer versions of old games or old franchises. So yeah, thinking about it, yeah, that would be the reason I've got it, thinking about it. So, right, okay, let's move on to number 4. Xbox 360. Right, now this one's going to cause some controversy for sure. So, some people love it, some people hate it. It's a Marmite console. Personally, I love it. And the reason for that was because I sort of slipped out of gaming for a while. I around about the PS2, I had the PS2. I bought some games for it, but you know how it is when you get to a certain age. You're out drinking with your mates. You're having a laugh. You've got your social life, and you can slip out of gaming, and I did for a bit. And the first time I come back to it was the Xbox 360, and that was because a game caught my attention, Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which was Call of Duty 4. And that got my attention. A friend of mine had bought it with the Xbox 360, and I was like, I've got to have that game. That's a great game. And I got the 360. In fact, my wife bought it for me, actually. So it's one of the first things she bought me, actually. We hadn't been together long when I got that. And yeah, great console. I've got many games for it. I've still got them. I've still got my original Xbox 360. I have also got the more modern version. I bought a spare because, as we know, the first version gets the red ring of death. And someday it will probably pack up on me. So I've got a spare one so I can still play it. And the reason for that is because I have a lot of love for the Xbox 360. I bought a lot of games for that. Out of the more modern consoles, that's probably the console I bought the most games for. And now I'm still buying games for it now. So, yeah, a lot of people will say the PS3, and the PS3 is in my list, but for very different reasons. Out of the two, I actually preferred the Xbox 360. I thought, for example, the Call of Duties I thought looked better on the 360, and I thought they played better too. I'd played them on a PS3 because another friend of mine had one, and I just didn't like it. Didn't like the controls and that. I didn't like how it played. Didn't like the look of it either, really, if I'm honest. And at the time, the PlayStation Network was god awful as well. I think that the Microsoft Xbox one was much better. So, yeah. So it's a great console. I think it's very underestimated. Like I say, it's a Marmite console. You either love it or you hate it. But personally, I love it. So, and like I say, I still play it now. It's a great console. So that, yeah, I would not be without that. I would have to have one of them in my collection. So yeah, that's the Xbox 360. Right, so like I said, I was going to get to this one, PS3. Now, very specific PS3, and this is the fat version. I recently picked one of these up for a good price too, and there's a story behind this as well. So back in the day, I had the original PlayStation, still got it. Not as it's not where I am now. It's at my mum's, but I've still got it. And I had a fat PlayStation 2. If I'm honest, I think we sold that. So when I started collecting again, I picked up a PS2 Slim. And the main reason I got it was because you could play PS1 games on it as well. Only I found that it was a bit twitchy. Didn't like a lot of the games, especially the PS1 games. And I was a bit irritated, if I'm honest, because I bought it mainly for that. So I sold it on, and I took some advice from Schmuck Pilot 79. He said to me, no, you want to get a fat PS3 because then you can play PS3, PS2 and PS1. So I got one. Now, when I originally looked, these were going for anywhere around £300. And a lot of them you had to get imported in. They weren't even in this country. So at the time I looked at it and I thought, oh, I don't want to be paying that. And then I stumbled onto one on Music Magpie. And it had been refurbed. So I got it. And I didn't look back. Yeah, I've been picking up PS1 games. Like, for example, Soul Blade, Loaded, Street Racer, games like that, classics. I've picked up a lot of PS2 games, like I've said in a video recently, I picked up Knight Rider for it, and many others. I've got loads of PS2 games again now. And yeah, I'm enjoying it. I've picked up a few PS3 games, but not many. Main reason being is because with that particular edition, it suffered with overheating, and when you're playing some really technical games on it, it is more likely to overheat the console. So if I'm honest, I do mainly use it for PS2 and PS1. I do play some PS3 on it, but mainly PS2 and PS1. Doesn't overtax the system, that way I know that I'm not going to burn the thing out. But like I say, it's been refurbed, so I'd like to think that when it was refurbed, they sorted out the compound on the chip so that it doesn't overheat. So yeah, so that's my number 3. Right, my number 2. Now, this is something I've picked up recently, and already I love it. And that is the Super Retro Trio Plus. Yeah, so if you've watched my video, you'll know that I picked this up recently because in the games room here, the Mega Drive will not play on these TVs. They're a bit twitchy when it comes to AV, and they don't like the Mega Drive. So I could only play the Mega Drive in the front room. So it meant if I played it and did a video for the channel, I had to record it on my phone, which is all right, but let's be honest, you want better quality really if you can get it. So I've stumbled across this particular console watching someone else's video on YouTube, and I found out it came out 3 years ago, and I had no idea. I'd never heard of it. I'd heard of the original one, which was the standard AV version, but I didn't know they'd done an HD version. So I picked this up. And if you watch my video, you'll see that I got it for a good price, and it didn't even cost me that because I had vouchers and money, etc. sitting aside. So I got it for a good deal. And yeah, I haven't looked back with it really. I mean, I've been playing it quite a bit over the last couple of weeks. It's great. Now, the reason why I wouldn't be without this is because I live in a flat, So I haven't got room for too many consoles. I've already got probably more than I should have. And I wanted a SNES and I wanted an NES. But I just haven't got the room. So that's where this console comes in, because of course you can play Mega Drive, SNES and NES. And it's multi-region too. So you've got the best of both worlds. So it now means I can capture my Mega Drive in here. I don't have to do it on my phone in the front room. Although I still play the Mega Drive in the front room. You know, sometimes it's just better playing it on the original software, original hardware, should I say. So, but for the channel, I do it all on the Retro Trio Plus. But I can now play NES and SNES, and I've been enjoying playing Killer Instinct and Gremlins too, because they're great games, and I've always loved Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct, like I've said many times, I love my fighters, and Killer Instinct is a really good game. It's a shame actually I haven't got an Xbox One, because if I did I would have bought the newer version, because I'd love to see what that looks like. My eldest son's got it. I got it for him for Christmas. So yeah, I would love to have a go on that, but he doesn't live with me, so I'm a bit out of luck there. But yeah, so that's the reason I picked that. It enables me to play these other systems that I wanted but didn't have the room for. So yeah, great console. I wouldn't be without this. Right, and then we get to my number one, and you should know what my number one is. Anyone who's been watching my channel long enough will know that this will be my number one. Although I've only picked it up recently, I've got a lot of nostalgia for it from back in the day. I've had it a couple of times already, one being a Japanese version, one being a UK PAL version, and it holds a lot of nostalgia for me, and that is the Sega Mega Drive. Now I've got that, I'm not getting rid of that, no way. Sega Mega Drive, for me, although, like I've said many times before, when it comes to microcomputers, my nostalgia will always be the C64, because it was the first computer I ever got. But when it comes to consoles, it will always be the Sega Mega Drive, because that was what I got next after the C64. And I spent a lot of time playing it, And in fact, I spent a lot of time even playing other people's, because a few years later, a friend of mine got one as well. And we always spent more time around his house. So we used to sit around there playing Micro Machines, Streets of Rage, Columns, you know, all the classics, Desert Strike. And like me, he had the Mega CD as well. And my God, I wish I'd never got rid of that. The Mega CD, have you seen the prices of them these days? I wish I still had that. It was such a, you know, back in the day when you look at it, you thought, well, it's not much of a step up from the cartridges. A lot of the games were the same. They were just put onto disc. But now when you look at it, it's like, yeah, but it did load pretty good, you know, and they did bring some exclusives out to it, which are now extortionate in price. And obviously the Mega CD is too. So yeah, it's really something I wish I'd kept hold of. It's funny, isn't it? Hindsight, it's a wonderful thing, you know. If you knew what was going to come along later, you'd keep it, wouldn't you? Yeah, so... But yeah, so I've got great memories of the Mega Drive, and that's why it's my number one. Right, so now here comes the part. I'm turning it over to you guys now. You guys, you got to pick up the mantle here. I want to see people's responses. You know, I like to see people's memories, their reasons, their stories. So yeah, I want you guys to pick up the gauntlet now, and I'll be looking forward to seeing your responses. Right, so I'm going to leave it there. Hope you've enjoyed the video, guys. And if you have, please like, share and subscribe. And also hit that notification bell so that you're aware of all our future videos and live streams. And also click the all when you click the subscribe, so that way it will definitely let you know of everything that's coming up. And until next time, take care, stay safe. Nerdy Geezer out.